Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me for today's World Session, January 27th. I can't believe that we're already here. I could feel the energy already building for today's session, and my stomach is already gurgling. So I'm just going to go hop right into it because I am a few moments late. If you do want to catch the other recorded sessions, just a little bit of housekeeping, you can find me on YouTube. Or you can go directly onto my website, www.mmarzak.com, to catch a series of sessions and also look for classes and courses that I'm going to be putting on. And if you wanted to get your own private session, you can go ahead and book through my website. All right, so without further ado, first thing that is coming up very strongly is to ground the energy within yourself. So you can take a nice deep breath and focus in on your feet and a balancing of the cortices. I'm going to go ahead and balance the cortices for everyone. We're going to balance cortices to the brain, to the head brain, for brain functioning, improving brain function, a softening of the corpus callosum. It helps the synapses travel from the left and the right so that the left and right brain hemispheres are in communication. I'm not going to talk too much now. I'm just going to watch this work happen. So we're tapping cortices to brain. And then also doing a hydration to the brain that feels like there's an inundation of information. And this is where small intestines and the nervous system comes in to discern, to filter, having a strong intellect, to judge, but not judgment, to analyze, and to cut through the dross and to think properly. So not lazy thinking, which is just following thoughts, but as Jordan Peterson says, is to think properly, to ask questions, to be curious. And there's just too much information coming from the outside world. There's too much being infiltrated, noticing a hard time of figuring out, well, what's real, what's true, what do I believe, what do I not believe? And that also inner conflict, right? Well, these thoughts are coming up. Do I believe my thoughts about myself? Do I believe my thoughts about the outside world? And it's very confusing. So the brain feels fried, and the mind looks like a big mushroom sitting over the head and using us like a puppet. So we've got to do a few things. Got to link the head brain back into the three brains. So we're doing this very powerful, it's simple, but it's such a complex link, linking the head brain to the heart brain, so for full communication, and then the heart brain to the gut brain, so that all three brains are working as one, bringing that into the nervous system. You've got to do a filtering through the nervous system. There's just too much information, and we're going to do it through an environment balancing. We're going to do a few environmental balancings at the same time. So we've got a general environment from exterior influences coming in and bombarding the nervous system. So the whole nervous system, the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system, all of it just feels so bombarded with information. It feels sticky, like there's electrical static, and it's creating this block to really filter through and discern for yourself what is good for you. This extraneous information coming in. So we're going to balance out the environment factors. So external environment, and this is specifically coming up as information overload. So we're going to balance that out. Then we're also going in and doing a vivaxis. We're doing a vivaxis to the nervous system of an environmental vivaxis. And so again, it's coming up with too much information. Social media is coming in and being talked at. So creates this conflict. There's these two opposing viewpoints happening. So it could even be within yourself. You could even think of even choosing food to eat as a simple example. Well, I don't know, what do I eat? The salad? Do I eat the meat? Do I eat the tomatoes? And it creates conflict of I don't know what's best for myself. That links into a very burdened, we're going into discernment, very burdened small intestines, where it's unable to break down uh, information overload. So I see everyone's mouth wide open and gulping in information. There's new information coming out daily. And in it goes through the mouth, in through the digestive system, and is unable, the body's having a hard time synthesizing and breaking down the information that's being taken in. This feels like a session that has a lot of bombardment from outside sources. It feels very extraneous. It feels very much out there. We're going to bring it back to in here where you are discerning your life for yourself based on yourself, bringing back into self autonomy, being your own writer of your own story, being able to navigate your life for yourself. And it feels like there's this big weight coming in, too much information. So we've got to balance out the digestive system. We're starting with a repair to the mouth, to the TMJ. It feels really tight and clenched. So we're going to do a hydration to the TMJ. We're also bringing in a body chemistry to the TMJ that feels like some toxins and some microbes are hiding out in here. So I'm going to do a general body chemistry to the TMJ, and also a toxin release. But this is the top of this toxicity is toxic words. Oh, this is having that snake, that poison tongue. And so all of those evil things you say about yourself, to yourself, even if it's a thought, oof, thoughts about others, being sure that you are 100% right or 100% wrong. So we're dealing with strong belief systems of right, wrong, good, bad. It's this way, it's not this way, and missing the curiosity of in between. It's being right here inundated within the TMJ is being stuck in your own echo chamber, the own echo chamber of your own mind, and all of those mean things that you say to yourself and you say to others, even if it's just a thought, even if you're just thinking it, even as simple as that jerk cut me off, that's a poisoned tongue. So we're going to release some toxins, but we don't want to overburden the system. We got to clean it out. So we're going to do a hydration to the TMJ. And we want to get those free radicals out of there and that poison tongue out of there. I'm going to link that into the lymphatic system, into the integumentary system. So you may be a little bit sweaty and you may have to go to the bathroom more often. And there might be some loose stool. So you may have some diarrhea if this is coming out for you. Now my tongue feels, my face is itchy all of a sudden. So like I said, we're going to link this into the integumentary system. So into the skin, all those pores to sweat out these toxins and toxic thoughts about yourself and others. Oh no, my ears are so itchy. So we're going right into the tongue. We're going into the taste buds and the actual fibers of the tongue. So taste buds and then into the buds, down into the cellular. We're going into the cellular system of the tongue. We've got to do a toxic release from the tongue. And it feels like a thick coating on top there. It's just like a white, thick coating on top of the tongue. So we're going to do a repair to the taste buds, bringing them back into homeostasis. And then we're going to do from the tongue, we're going to go ahead and do a 5 senses dumping. So the words that you speak about yourself and others are through your filters, are through your beliefs and what you think. and therefore you think it, and then that's what you attract, and that's what's the only thing that you see. So we're doing a five senses dumping. We're going to anchor it to individuation so we can dump those filters. They're not serving. So again, the filter of right, wrong, justice, injustice, what it is to be humane and inhumane. Oh, there's so many things coming up here. Um, Kindness versus cruelty in the words that you speak to yourself, and then how you bully yourself around and then therefore control and bully others through the words, these poison words that you say. Oh, yeah. I'm really dizzy on this one. So we're doing five senses to the tongue, both physical and subtle sense to the tongue, anchoring that to the heart to dump those toxins to individuation, dump those toxics out. We need some support. This, we don't want to overburden the body with too many toxic dumping, but we do need to move it out. It's ready to be moved out. So we're going to link it to the colon and then actually to the rectum. So that could be pooped out, linking it to the integumentary system, also to the saliva, to the lymphatic system for a nice lymphatic drainage. We don't want to overburden the lymphatic system because the lymphatic system feels heavy. So the lymphatic system needs a little bit of a tune-up. Going to link the lymphatic system to the spleen. The spleen is I like to call it the garbage. It knows what to do with the junk. It knows what to do with the trash. So we're going to do linking up the lymphatic system to the spleen so they can work more cohesively together. It feels sluggish, and in comes low self-esteem. So what I think about myself is true, whether it be heightened arrogance or low self-esteem, thinking poorly about yourself. The lymphatic system is struggling a bit. So I'm trying to see how it wants to be repaired, because then we need to get that moving. So we're going to do a circulation plug into the lymph, to, from, and within the lymphatic system, and really doing a nice flushing of chi. Really need to get that lymphatic system moving. It's a little sluggish in there. And get the circulation going through a nice chi circulation. Is it asking for, and we're going to speed up just by a fraction of a millisecond how the lymphatic system drains. And we're going to plug in a hydration and speed up that water just a little bit so it can negatively charge the water, and then your body can go ahead and create some hydrogen peroxide so it can clean out that lymphatic system. There we go. Now I can see that moving really, really nicely. Oh, moving there. It's starting to move. Oh, there's a final, really nice deep breath. Gonna link that cleansing, linking that link into the diaphragm and small intestine, so there's some emotional buildup within the lymphatic system. So fear and paranoia. So paranoia is fearful thoughts seeming to be true. And we're going to link that into the diaphragm and into a reset, no, into a full breathing cycle. So we've got to link up the diaphragms, the three diaphragms together. So the cerebral diaphragm, the diaphragm along the midline that works with the lungs, and then the pelvic diaphragm. It feels they're all kind of doing their own thing. We want to make sure that the occiput and the sacrum breathing cycles are in sync for yourself, so you can just tune into your own body. That could jam along the midline, it jams along the back, there could be back pain. We want the spine to be flexible and those diaphragms working in sync together. And then the diaphragm along the middle that needs to be expanding and it's having a hard time expanding. So I'm just going to go ahead and tap in those links and then going right back into that diaphragm. It feels really sticky. Oof, we've got to do a big emotional release from the diaphragm. We've got bunged up emotions. So we've got the 5 emotions trapped in the diaphragm and they're offshoots, right? You've got jealousy and resentment, and we've got fear and extreme fear and paranoia and worry and sadness and then grief and then even bits of joy. That's just that the diaphragm is not moving in a way to synthesize those emotions so that the emotions can move through the body and go to the organs that know how to deal with it. Oh, and there's anger too, which is resentments coming up and frustration. So we're going to do a really beautiful emotional release from the diaphragm. It's getting really thick in there. We're going to use Bodygenics to go ahead and do an emotional dumping. Take a nice deep breath. It's starting to move. There we go. And linking that into the small intestines for synthesis. It can just synthesize through the body and where it needs to go. There's a holding in the diaphragm. There's defenses coming up and the reluctantness to let go to these emotions. There's so many thoughts around them, so we've got to disassociate the thoughts from emotion. And defense has come, defensiveness. I need to defend myself. There's a huge difference between defending yourself and protection. And this is defensiveness. So there's a consciousness in here. It's a pathological consciousness. Yes. So we've got a general consciousness of separation of misperceptions of self, and actually really big right now is self versus others, and then personality modification. So we've got the these three general consciousness stuck within the diaphragm. It's making it really tricky. There's gunk coming up now. There we go. We're going to anchor that to the heart. It's ready to be dumped. And then to help that, we're going to do a brain drain at the same time, just dumping that. Oh, there's the melting. There, it's finally releasing. Anchoring that to the heart for release. Oh, there we go. Take a nice deep breath. Oh, I could feel like I can sleep now. Oh, the whole system has finally relaxed. I could feel like I could breathe again. All right, end of session. I would love to hear your feedback. Let me know how you feel.